All right, good morning, everyone. It is Friday, February 6, 2026, and you're tuned in to the AI Daily Digest. We've got a packed show for you today. We're talking about a brand new age of self-improving models, big tech's absolutely massive financial gamble on AI, and, the beginning of what some are already calling the SaaS apocalypse. So let's just dive right in. Okay, so for a while now, we've thought of AI as something that, creates things for us. It writes an email, it makes a picture. Well, that's old news. We are officially in what's being called the agentic era, and this is a really critical shift. We're not just talking about generating content anymore. We're talking about AI that can execute complex tasks all on its own. It's like moving from a calculator to a full-blown project manager. It's all about autonomous orchestration now. And, this really sets the stage for what 2026 is becoming. People are calling it the year of battle. And it's because the fight isn't just about who has the smartest model anymore. Oh no, the stakes are so much higher now. We're talking about a battle for control over, well, the new operating system for the entire global economy. It's a huge deal. So let's get into it. The new model arms race, pitting OpenAI against Anthropic. And this battle, it really just kicked into high gear. Yesterday, we saw two industry titans drop major releases almost at the exact same time. First, Anthropic launched Claude Opus 4.6, and then just minutes later, OpenAI fired back with GPT-5.3 Codex. This is the arms race we're in now, and believe me, it is moving unbelievably fast. And what's so fascinating here is that we're seeing two completely different philosophies about how to build this future. On one hand, you've got OpenAI. Their new model is a self-improving agent. I mean, get this, it literally helped its own human engineers debug and deploy this new version. It's a model that helps create its own successor. Then, on the other hand, you have Anthropic. They're going with more of a team approach. Their AI acts like a manager, directing a whole fleet of smaller, specialized AIs to work on a problem all at once. So let's break down what this actually means for you. Anthropic's Claude? It's all about that massive 1 million token context window. They're really targeting big enterprise tasks where logic and safety are paramount. Think of it as the AI you'd want to run a complex financial audit. It's predictable and secure. OpenAI, though, they're all about raw power. They're crushing new benchmarks like SWE Bench Pro, which is all about coding and execution. They're building the ultimate developer tool. And this quote right here, this is the really big takeaway. You have to let this sink in. When AI models can start improving themselves, debugging their own code, deploying new versions, we hit an unbelievable inflection point. It means the speed of AI progress is no longer limited by how fast humans can type or think. It's decoupled. And that could mean an absolute explosion in what's possible. But it also forces us to ask some really tough questions about what the role of a human engineer even is anymore. Okay, so we've talked about the models, but that's only half the story. Now let's talk about the real war, the war for the enterprise. This is the fight to build the AI operating system that will run everything. So here again, we see two different approaches. Think of OpenAI's frontier platform as the central command, the CEO's office. It's designed to manage whole fleets of AI agents across an entire company, focusing on governance, identity, and security. It's the big picture OS. Anthropic's Claude Cowork is different. It's more like hiring a team of specialist contractors. It's a collection of doer agents, each with a specific job, using plugins to handle things like customer support or legal analysis with incredible precision. But, none of this incredible software just appears out of thin air. It all runs on something. So let's go down to the engine room of this whole revolution. We're talking about silicon, capital, and raw power. And look at this number, $20 billion. That's what TSMC, arguably the most important hardware company on the planet, just announced they're pouring into a new chip factory in Japan. And these aren't just any chips. They're for the next generation 3-nanometer AI hardware. This is a huge geopolitical move, right? It's all about making sure the global supply of these critical chips is safe and secure. And if you thought $20 billion was a lot, get ready for this. We're looking at a projected $650 billion in spending this year alone from just Amazon, Alphabet, Meta, and Microsoft combined. I mean, let that sink in. This isn't just an investment anymore. This is a full-on, all-in, no turning back bet that the entire global economy is about to be rebuilt from the ground up on a foundation of AI. And if you look at how that money breaks down, you can see the strategy. Amazon is out front with a staggering $200 billion, mostly for AWS, because they know data centers are the new oil fields. Alphabet is right behind them, baking AI deep into search and cloud. what we're witnessing here is nothing short of a silicon land grab. It's a race where owning the most compute, well, that makes you the new superpower. Okay, so with all this money pouring in and all this new tech exploding onto the scene, you had to know there would be consequences. And we're seeing them play out in the financial markets right now. It's a massive reckoning that people are starting to call the SaaS apocalypse. No, you're reading that right. A negative 285 times billion dollars. That's how much market value vanished this week from public software and financial services companies. So, why the panic? It's pretty simple, actually. Investors are looking at these new AI agents and realizing, wait a minute, if an AI can just do financial modeling or manage your customer relationships natively, why would you pay a monthly subscription for a separate piece of software to do it? The whole business model is suddenly at risk. But here's the crazy part. While the public markets are freaking out, the private venture capital market is on fire. It's a total frenzy. Just look at these numbers. Anthropic is rumored to be raising money at a $350 billion valuation. And you have these brand new startups like Recursive Intelligence. They use AI to design even better AI chips. And they're raising hundreds of millions right out of the gate. It's clear what's happening, right? The value is shifting away from the apps on top and moving down to the core brain, the foundational models and the hardware they run on. So, with all this power, all this money, all this disruption, it leads to some pretty big questions. How are we going to govern this stuff? And maybe, just as important, how are we even going to use it? Let's talk about the new rules and the new interfaces for this new world. Globally, things are, well, they're a mess. There's no single rule book. The EU is going full steam ahead with its big AI Act. China's doing its own thing with a top-down, state-controlled system. And here in the US, it's just a messy patchwork of different state laws. But the really worrying part is military AI. At a recent summit, both the US and China basically refused to sign a key agreement on responsible use. That signals a really dangerous arms race for autonomous weapons is probably already underway. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about how we actually talk to these things. For years, it's all been about the chat box, right? Well, some fascinating new research is arguing that the chat box might already be obsolete. A new paper talks about something called the keyhole effect. The idea is that a chat window forces you to squeeze a big, complex idea through a tiny little opening, one line at a time. It works against how our brains naturally think, which is spatially. So, what's the solution? Well, the paper proposes a few ideas that get us into a post-chat world. Instead of a chat box, imagine an infinite canvas where you can move pieces of data around visually. Or what about an AI that doesn't just give you an answer, but prepares an entire digital workspace for you? All your charts, documents, and data laid out perfectly. They call it mise en place, like a chef getting their ingredients ready. The whole point is to design interfaces that work with our brains, not against them. And that really brings us to the big final thought for today. The shift we've been talking about is just profound. The whole idea of talking to a bot is quickly becoming a thing of the past. That era is over. What's beginning is a new one, where pretty much all of us will become managers of a powerful, sophisticated digital workforce. So the only question left to ask is, are you ready for that?